Oscar.
What's up, and welcome back to episode 5 of Dig Ultimate's Fall Mini Docu-Series. Now, if you missed it in episode 3 when we had a practice weekend, unfortunately they didn't listen to me and we had to go down to Boston again, but this time with a twist. After an afternoon practice on Saturday, Jeff Babbitt and Tulsa Douglas hosted a Dig X Brute mixer. One of the fun parts about Club Ultimate is cheering for a city during bye rounds. And having a mixer like this allows the teams to get to know one another a little bit more. I highly recommend doing this in your community to increase that collaboration and camaraderie. How did it work? We broke into 8 teams of 4, 2 Dig and 2 Brute per team, spread across 5 games of competition to decide one winner. Game 1 was the egg toss. 30 adults took to the streets of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and teams nominated 2 players to throw and catch an egg, stepping back until it broke. Sadly, Sebastian and I only got second. Considering I was raised on the egg toss, I had higher hopes. I sat out round 2, and Leanne and Saba worked together to move M&Ms from one plate to another with only straws. And while it was a very strong performance, nobody could touch Babbitt and Becky, who got 75 in 1 minute.
Oscar.
Go try it and see if you can beat them. I got called up for game 3, the blindfolded puzzle challenge. Each team had 4 minutes to make the biggest combined puzzle piece. Teammates could give instructions and guide hands, but not touch the actual puzzle. Another strong showing without a win. The MVPs of this round were Liv and Bert, absolutely crushed.
Okay.
And one team only got 1 connection, but I won't mention who that is. Game 4, the bubble challenge. Buried under a mini mountain of whipped cream was a piece of chewing gum. Once the player got the gum out of the whipped cream without their hands, they had to blow a bubble. The first bubble wins. It was epic. Becky put up a fight, but I think Turner got the W. It was contested. There was a few bubbles that we didn't really know which one to count first.
Come on, Dork! Got me real bubble. Hey!
Has anyone actually got it? No. Becky! Oh, that's
Come on.
At this point, I slipped out the back door with Gus. We ended up missing the final competition, which was bobbing for apples, and to this day, I'm not sure who won. All in all, I'd have to say that is a wildly successful mixer. Shout out to everyone who put in the work to make it happen and bring those teams together. Good luck, Brute, and good luck, Dig. Sunday morning's practice, a bit like last time we were in Boston. A lot of rain during the week. Our field got canceled, and luckily we found a nice piece of turf near Cambridge again. And we had a great Sunday practice. The big ultimate news for Dig pertaining to this documentary on our push to nationals was the selection of pools. The pools are officially set, and for the 3rd year they went to the World Cup draw. Ultiworld's Deep Look podcast hosted USAU director Adam Goff. Let's take a look.
They're in Pool C, and that of course leaves Bravo to go into Pool B along with Dig and Red Tide.
You can watch the whole draw as well as analysis and also the women's and mixed divisions draw and the whole episode over on Ultiworld's YouTube channel. And now that the pools are up, every team in the country is beginning their scouting. As you can see above, we have Truck Stop, Bravo, and our neighbors, Red Tide Ultimate out of Portland. Shout out Red Tide, that's huge for the program. 1.5 teams at nationals for a small city like ours is phenomenal. So what better way to bring you along the scouting process than to actually pull up some tape, Truck Stop versus Bravo from last year. In this portion, I'll be breaking down for you how to break down a game in case you ever need to use it for your own team or to scout an opponent. The reason I chose last year is both teams have had a lot of turnover, so the systems and strategies are really not pertinent. I'm not going to release anything like that here before Nationals. So whatever I show, it's old news, but it's, again, just a good habit or a good, educational piece on how you can improve from this process. And it's also something that me, my teammates, and the coaching staff will be doing with 2025 footage for the rest of the fall. All right, let's dive into the film study. We're going to start talking about offensive system and spacing. That's a big help when you're scouting, looking for what teams are trying to do, the space they're trying to attack, and the space they're trying to keep open. Starting off with Bravo here, we're going to notice that throughout this game, they were doing a lot of heavy lifting on the pull play. And generally, they were just kind of putting a side stack out and then having one player in the lane. Now, this isn't like they're doing the same play every time. We're going to know that sometimes they slashed across, sometimes this player went deep, but a lot of times, it's either Quinn Tovey or Alex Atkins, and they're both two-way players, so you kind of have to respect both. So here they kind of kick it out. They go with more of the flat chip shot, and then they have, the side stack sitting, and you can just tell that they're really trying to attack all of this space, looking for some really big gainers off the start. So here they get just a huck away. And if we kind of go back, it's pretty interesting that, with this side stack here, it looks like Troy out here on Quinn. It's a great matchup, two good friends. They have to kind of, they're not really getting help. So even though, Quinn has all the space to attack, Quinn also has all the deep space, and it's just a one-on-one battle. So Bravo clearly just wants to put out some players in space with, players that can huck it. And we're going to see, it's really important when you're watching film, like, is this a one-time thing or if it's a pattern? And watching this game back definitely seemed like it was a pattern. So yeah, letting the tape play out, like, Troy has to respect everything, and it ends up being a good away shot, and the help can't quite get there, and Quinn has something to say to his friend Troy Holland after the game. They are best buds, played Team USA together. All right, here Bravo's heading out, and yeah, it looks like Alex Atkins in the lane here making that deep cut. And just like before, if we kind of go back 10 seconds, we have a little bit of a side stack on the opposite side of the field. This time, instead of what they did last time, they just kind of took this chip shot. They're going to send Alex deep and then go from there. They're still keeping a bunch of that side of the field wide open. They have, it looked like Quinn had a read. He was kind of going in, but they opted just to chip it to the handler, who was kind of being poached. And now, before, all the space is still open, and they opt to let Alex come back and attack, that space. And he gets a free 30 yards. And when the ball moves that far, now all of a sudden this spot of the field is super dangerous and it's open. Nobody's really helping right now because they have to find their matchup on that transition, and they're able to score another one in just a couple, 2-3 throws here. So Bravo's definitely trying to play off that pull play, big space, and attack. And, Troy, best defender in the world, got beat twice, but look how he adjusts. And now if we look at the third example here, there's definitely more. Look right on this bottom of your screen. Troy's got his arm up. He's pointing. That communication is huge. They know they've been having this stack, and then they've been attacking with this ISO. So Troy's going to play a little bit under. He's going to ask for somebody in this stack just to help out deep and try to make them go to plan B, which is, throwing to anybody really besides Quinn Finer. And another cool thing too is while we're looking at strategy and how teams are playing, this is how Bravo's getting their offense going. It's really cool too to watch film and learn an individual skill, this communication, hey, let's set up this little bracket. We know what's going on, right? We have the advantage. Obviously, this game is not coming into any of our scouting for nationals. This is last year's stuff. There's so much turnover. This is more of just a tutorial on how. All this is, it's kind of completely useless for this year. So, but that said, is we can also learn individual skills. Not only is Troy passing and communicating for that bracket, but watch his footwork on, as he looks back at Quinn. Quinn comes under, and Troy just jumps this blindly, right? If he doesn't have any help, then he can't really overcommit here, because if this is a double move, then he's going to lose all separation. So he makes a full commitment here, right there, and just knowing that, hey, I'm going to have help deep. I set up that help with my point. And it's kind of cool that they were able to do this within one game, right? Like, that's the elite level. That's what you should aspire to do. Is, you get beat on a couple of the same things, you need to adjust mid-game, at halftime, later on in the game, and start to say, okay, when Bravo comes down in this set, we're going to get somebody under the person in the lane, we're going to help from the stack, and we are not going to let them beat us again. This part of the video is sponsored by Excel Ultimate's new Film School, a weekly focused and customized film study for you with prompts, cues, questions, and also a full breakdown from me or a player or coach in the game, so you can see how you do and if you're seeing the right things. Take a look in the description below. A new, fun, fresh program just for everyone out there working on their game IQ. Now let's switch over, take a look. Truck Stop had been playing vert stack for several years. I was with them. Some small ball, changed the angle of attack. But in 2024, they went a little bit more to the side stack. And look how they're trying to use the field. Whereas, if we look right now, Christian is leaving deep. When we were watching Bravo, they kind of kept that space open and let Christian come back and attack for those big yards. But basically what Truck Stop is doing is, as soon as that spot is vacated, then they're going to bring in Christian here just on this horizontal slash, and they're just going to kind of play these 90-degree angle cuts to open up that space. So here comes Cole on that 90-degree cut, and same thing here. Now they're still in this side stack-ish flow. Jeff is in the best spot. He can attack this cone, he can attack deep, and even if he doesn't get it, now it looks like Tyler is going to be that next up to kind of make that fill. So they're kind of playing a little bit more big space offense. Their offense was fantastic all season in 2024, even though they switched up the system. But yeah, there's Jeff creating that space. Tyler's attacking. But by this time, Truck had already looked to get it off the field, because that's going to come into play as we start to think of how can Bravo really help, shut down this a little bit of a side stack from Truck. All right, here we've noticed that we've had two cuts just kind of clearing out this space, the side of the field. It looks like they're kind of stacked left, playing right, and they get their horizontal stack here is what they're looking to do. And as soon as Jeff gets this one, then we're going to look and a little blurry here. As soon as Jeff gets that one, it looks like it's Christian again, just going out. And again, all of this space on the field is open. Now here's where it gets a little kind of potent is, Truck Stop is not just blindly making these slashes. They have all of this space so they can hit this belly if they need to. They can take it and run the butterfly if they need to. So there are multiple options. They're not just slashing. But what we can notice if we're Bravo is there's a lot of players out of the play. And if you're thinking, okay, well, it's a side stack, can we help? One of the things you need to do as a coach or captain, if you're breaking down you or your opponent's game, is to realize how quickly the other team can change fields. Swing the disc, move the disc. If you're playing a team that's running a side stack or a vert stack, it really doesn't matter. If they get stuck on a sideline or if they get stuck holding the disc, a lot of their players are stall 5, stall 6, then you can start to ask your team on defense to help over the top. This would be a great way to, they have kind of a built-in last back here. That's great. But we can start to bring in some of these players knowing that, you're not playing Truck Stop. If you're playing your game and the disc is getting stuck right here, let's go flood this strong side. Now, if you're playing a team that's really good at just swinging and getting the disc over here instantly, then you're going to have to keep these two defenders a little bit more honest. So that's kind of the chess match of Ultimate these days, is just figuring out, what the other offense is capable of doing or what they want to do. We just saw Bravo. They want to attack on the pull play. They want to get a couple of throw goals. Let's see if Truck Stop can, shut that down and make them grind. And here, Truck Stop is, looking like they want to just open up this space on the strong side. Now let's see if Bravo can get anybody on this side and make them go laterally. That's a wrap on episode 5 of the fall series. Keep an eye out. I'm going to release a throwing video that has a lot of good information interspersed with the next episode or two. So make sure you subscribe if you're looking for some tips and tricks on how to throw better. And of course, if you want any custom programming, whether that's gym, strength and conditioning, throwing academy, that film stuff, or skill development, just shoot me a message on Instagram. We're starting to load up on our programming. We're still open enrollment for this off season. And yeah, I'd love to get to know you and work with you to hopefully help your ultimate goals succeed. And then you can be in one of these documentaries trying to win the national championship. Guarantee it.